Governor Abdullahi A Sule
solemnly swear, affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as the governor of Nasarawa State, I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability, faithfully, and in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
So help me God.
So help me God.
The mantra of the new administration led by Governor Abdullahi A. Sule in Nasarawa State is exceeding all expectations. On May 29, 2019, after being sworn in as the executive governor, Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule stated 14 items in his inaugural speech to be undertaken within the first 100 days of his stewardship.
It is conventional to talk about recording some achievement within the first 100 days of office by our new administration. We will execute an underlisted projects and programs.
The governor began by distributing sewing and grinding machines to empower women across the 13 local government areas of Nasarawa State. Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule then embarked on ministerial briefings with departments and agencies so as to acquire first-hand grasp of the factual situation in government ministries from 13th June to 1st of July 2019.
It is with deep sense of fulfillment that I welcome you all to this inauguration of a committee for restructuring of the government ministries, departments and agencies in Nasarawa State Public Service. This is in furtherance to our determination to carry out a holistic review and reform of the public service for effective performance and service delivery. Therefore, this administration is committed to reinvigorating the state public service and will accordingly give priority attention to the welfare of its employees.
In his first contact with the organized labor in Nasarawa State, Governor Abdullahi A. Sule affirmed to them that he considers the payment of monthly salary as a sacred and sacrosanct responsibility. In just 3 months of exemplary stewardship, the new governor of Nasarawa State began to be referred to as the engineer of Nasarawa State, who wakes up and goes to the office at 8:30 a.m. The latest, you will find Governor Abdullahi A. Sule behind his desk at Government House Lafayette is 9 a.m. in the morning. Aside from rising to the hallmark of personal example, Governor Abdullahi A. Sule also believes in delegating responsibility to those who are considered his subordinates. Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule has fast cut a niche for himself as the governor who invests trust in his aides. The result is that Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule is gradually unleashing unbridled creativity and bold innovations into governance in Nasarawa State. This, according to scholars, is in tandem with the truism that a great leader is a teacher and a coach, not a dictator. As promised in his inaugural speech, within the first 100 days of his stewardship, Engineer Sule hit the ground running by conducting medical outreach across the 3 senatorial zones, providing eye surgery to ordinary citizens at no cost.
We've given medications, we've given glasses. We've been able to screen some patients for cataract surgery. The people came out en masse and it was started there. We did a total of 63 surgeries, 61 of which was cataract and 2 pterygium. So we exceeded our expectation.
Kyauta ne aka bani kuma na yi matarkan farin ciki sosai domin ba karamin abu bane wani ya zauna yana tunani yadda zai taimake talakawa.
He then quickly inaugurated the all-important Nasarawa State Investment and Economic Advisory Council.
What necessitated the setting up of the council is actually our economic development blueprint, which is the Nasarawa Economic Development Strategy. The Nasarawa Economic Development Strategy is the vision and economic blueprint of Governor Abdullahi A. Sule for a prosperous economy in Nasarawa State, one that leverages the competitive advantages of the state, also leverages support from development partners and the private sector to lead a private sector driven economy.
Everything that we do must impact the people. Everything must be about the people. If we do anything that does not touch on the people of Nasarawa State, then it's all totally meaningless. So, say for instance in terms of agriculture, the grand vision is to go into commercial agriculture in a big way. But more importantly, to look at the rural farmers, the small-scale farmers, and to see how we can improve their yield, how with what they're doing today, they will make 5-10 times what they make.
We're very lucky that we have a governor that understands private sector and understands that development of a state, such as Nasarawa State, cannot be done just by the government, nor can it be done just by the private sector. It's got to be a joint partnership, to speak. What the government is trying to do is to leverage the human capacity, that we have here in Nasarawa State. This is a state that is blessed with tremendous amount of resources that have now depleted.
Nasarawa State is not a place where growth of economy had been at the front burner. We are asking them to come and help us do what we are not used to come and help us drive what we are not used to driving, to come and help us set up what we have not set up by ourselves. We have spoken about all these issues many times. We have seen in the past our leaders spending a lot of our monies going to foreign trips looking for foreign investors. Foreign investors will come to you when they believe that people who speak the same language with them are telling them it's okay, you can go there. The people we brought in now are those kind of people who will say, yes, the place is ripe for you foreign investors to go in.
Simultaneously, His Excellency committed funds to complete critical projects embarked upon by the previous administration, like the Lafia Airport and the historic UAC Shinge Command Science Kilima Road in Lafia. In the days after May 29, 2019, Governor Abdullahi A. Sule has plunged headlong into the early completion of the Lafia Institute of Technical Education Light, so as to propel government's agenda of skill acquisition and vocational training for youths. And then he flagged off the upgrade and construction of blocks of classrooms in all primary schools across Nasarawa State, beginning from Kokona, Wamba, and away local government areas, beginning from the 23rd of July 2019.
Today is a happy day, I think, for these children. I thank God that God gave us this opportunity today to come and fulfill their dreams. And I'm praying that one day one of these children will be standing here in front of you as the governor of Nasarawa State.
As he clocks 100 days in office and over 3 months in the saddle, Governor Abdullahi A. Sule has breathed a new lease of life into the doldrums of youth empowerment in Nasarawa State.
Today's event is designed to train and build the capacity of our young men and women across the state on the making of these kind of grades that was just tested a few minutes ago. This is in furtherance of our commitment to impart vocational skills on our able-bodied men and women to enable them start up small-scale enterprises for gainful employment and poverty alleviation.
And has ignited a chain reaction of public enthusiasm for sports. By Sunday, 28th of July 2019, when he clocked 2 months as governor of Nasarawa State, the Nasarawa State female football team, Amazons, defeated Rivers Angels of Port Harcourt in the final of the ITO Football Championship in Kaduna. His Excellency Abdullahi A. Sule might be an engineer by training, but he is without doubt poised to revive sports, arts, culture and tourism in Nasarawa State, as he has already granted funding for the organization of the first ever Nasarawa Cultural Festival, Nook Fest 2019. And while hosting the national body of the Actors Guild of Nigeria in Lafayette, Governor Sule unveiled his ambitious plan to build a film village beside Farinrua waterfalls in Wamba that will catapult the creative energy of Nasarawa youths to foray into filmmaking, adventure sport, tourism, and the hospitality industry. In the aspect of peace building and security, Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule took the first step to reach across the aisle and travel to faraway Benue State in a diplomatic effort to mend broken fences and renew ancestral ties of friendship with the nearest neighbors of Nasarawa State. And by this singular commitment to reconcile, to rebuild and repair relationships with Benue State.
Lack of peace in Benue is lack of peace in Nasarawa. Lack of peace in Taraba affects Nasarawa. The same thing with all these other places, whether it is Plateau or Kaduna State or Kogi State or Kwara or Niger and federal capital itself. Recently, you will see that I visited Benue State Governor, in order for us to be on the same page so that we can understand that we must have peaceful coexistence between the two states. But the biggest of all is to go to the foundation. What is the cause of this insecurity and how do we approach them?
Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule has picked up the gauntlet and positioned himself as a drum major for peace and a torchbearer for security in the entire north-central region of Nigeria. When he assumed office as governor, one of the first places Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule visited was the Ministry of Solid Minerals, where he discovered that over 416 licenses had been issued to mining companies to exploit solid minerals in Nasarawa State. But there was no effective financial return on these licenses.
I came to know a lot of people in Nasarawa State have licenses actually to mine solid minerals. But the situation really is that it's not properly organized. So our number one thing is to organize it first. And the number two is to ensure that our local people are benefiting from it. Because for me, that's the basics. If there is minerals in a locality, then whoever is mining it, we should ensure that the local people are benefiting, the government of the state is benefiting, and the federal government is getting its own. And then we encourage the investor.
All the efforts of His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule is to consolidate on a solid foundation already put in place by the previous administration, and he is approaching this in a meticulous, well-planned and orderly fashion in order to pave the way for success.
I was able to find a very interesting scenario. I was able to find some foundations that were made by the previous administration. and the foundations in the area of infrastructures, in area of policies that are there for me to build on. I was able to find a strategy and program for growth. So, and then my role, as well as those of my colleagues who are joining this government, is to see what we can do to build on what we actually found.
In his own administration's 5 areas of focus, namely generation of employment, wealth creation, accelerated industrialization, infrastructural development, and human capital, as well as urban renewal and sustainable development. Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule, the executive governor of Nasarawa State, has already positioned agribusiness as the key driver to his administration's unique approach to industrialization, creation of jobs, and the empowerment of youths in Nasarawa State.
Nasarawa State is really an agro-allied state, it's an agrarian state. We have 27,000 kilometers area in Nasarawa State. Our boundary, the water in Nasarawa State has not taken a significant aspect of the water we have in Nigeria. Instead, because it's at the boundary, it is the water that provides the boundary. So the major rivers of Benue, and then the various rivers we have across sometimes actually provide the boundary for us. So not taking part of our 27,000 kilometers. And out of these 27,000 kilometers, you can say at least 80% of that is fertile and ready for agriculture.
Already, Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule has entered into a partnership with NISOL, Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk Insurance System for Agricultural Lending, where suitable agribusiness models were thoroughly discussed to see how opportunities can be put in place by youths in Nasarawa State, with NISOL providing for the finance, agricultural equipment, and technology. Governor Abdullahi A. Sule has in 100 days conceived a bold, untested and futuristic document called NEDS, Nasarawa Economic Development Strategy, and then he sought 15 thoroughbred global economic players and conscripted them into a think tank called Nasarawa State Economic and Investment Advisory Council, which he tasked with a singular mission to bring to bear their wealth of experience and ginger the implementation of Nasarawa Economic Development Strategy NEDS, and also unlock all constraints which may have hindered the inflow of capital and investments into Nasarawa State in the past.
Members of the council were selected on their track records of experience, professionalism, and proven antecedents. They represent the best in the local and international business communities in Nigeria and all shades of opinions in economic and business acumen. I am convinced that the council will continually provide economic and investment roadmap for Nasarawa State.
Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule, as a governor who has exhibited unfettered political will to grant local government areas their complete financial autonomy, he has closed ranks with stakeholders across religious and party lines.
I'm so happy to see this powerhouse of Nasarawa State, those from inception of when Nasarawa State was even being created, those responsible for the creation of Nasarawa State, all gathered in this small room to share heads. If the capacity of what we have today come together for the building of Nasarawa State, inshallah, Nasarawa State will be built.
He has dipped his fingers into the hot debate of the Almajiri phenomenon by insisting that government must be at the forefront to end the systematic abuse of Almajiri children and ensure their rights to childhood.
The Almajiris becoming beggars and spending their time more around begging than anything else, and liking what to eat, because they say that the empty word is a devil's workshop, so is what is happening to some of these people. If they don't have anything to do, at the end of the day, anything goes. because they say if you don't know where you are going, any road will take you there. So that's the kind of thing that we are facing. So we say, maybe look at Al-Majiri system different from the way people look at it that day. Find something for them to do. Educate these people so they become useful to themselves. While you are educating them in the Western education, they can also go and acquire the Islamic education, which is meant for the Al-Majiri in the first place. So those are the kind of things. So we are trying to approach some of these issues from their own foundation so we can solve the problem.
This governor, Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule, has exhibited uncommon political will by fully implementing the TSA Treasury Single Account.
We needed to see how we can do that, so we'll centralize our collections, put it under one platform, so that by the click of a button, you can see whatever is happening in the state. We have the technology, it's called the Nasarawa State Central Billing System. It gives you a 3D, three-dimensional view of all the accounts, all the revenues coming into the state. By the click on your phone, on your tablet, on your system, you can see what is going, what is coming in. So we'll also place His Excellency on that platform so that he'll be able to see what is coming into the state on that platform. As he moves anywhere he is within the country, he'll be able to see what is coming in the state.
I want to make it categorically clear that all our revenues will actually be operating on the same dashboard. We cannot continue to have revenue being segmented where everybody is generating revenue on its own. TSA is real, it has come, and it is here to stay.
And even embraced the Ruga project initiated by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture.
Nasarawa State was one of the first states that said, you know what, the only way to eliminate this problem of herders is to separate them. So we embraced the idea of the Ruga project. It's been suspended at the moment, and we respect the fact that the government has suspended it until it is fully studied. But since we already received the idea, if there is a way, we can talk to this guy, we started talking to say, you know what, even though it's suspended at the federal level, let us at the state level find a way, now that we know separating the Fulanis and the farmers will bring peace. So let's find a way to separate the two of them.
Indeed, to exceed all expectations means to go beyond and above the call of duty and to set an elevated bar for performance. His Excellency, Governor Abdullahi A. Sule, has embarked on a mission to industrialize Nasarawa State on the basis of building enduring systems and business models that will tackle the root causes of poverty in the state. The aim of His Excellency, Governor Abdullahi A. Sule, is to catapult Nasarawa State to become one of the top 3 most competitive states in Nigeria by the year 2023.